Which deceased person, if brought back to life, would be the most surprised to learn they became famous posthumously? Alfred Wegener, who invented tectonic plate theory. No one believed him until long after he was dead. The poet John Keats, who died at 25, convinced he'd been robbed of a chance to make a significant contribution to English literature. His gravestone literally reads, "Here lies one whose name was writ in water." Herman Melville, author of Moby Dick, he was considered an unsuccessful writer while he was alive. He only managed to sell about 3,000 copies of Moby Dick in his time. Now it's one of the most well-known classics. Vincent van Gogh, definitely. He just wanted to sell and make his art his whole life. He died without having that. I'm pretty sure he died dirt poor. His grandson made him famous. It was his dream to be famous for his art, and he'll never know because he died before it happened. Alan Turing. Otzi the Iceman. It's the earliest surviving naturally mummified human remains, at about 5,000 years old. It would take a while to explain the concept of fame to him first. Anne Frank. To go the opposite way, I've always thought the ancient Roman emperors like Julius Caesar would be embarrassed at how small their once great empire now is. At its height under Trajan's rule, the empire spanned a greater distance than the modern United States, and now the empire is completely dissolved and their descendants are relegated back to the peninsula. Jon Snow. No, Dr. Jon Snow, look it up. He was the chief pioneer of the germ theory of medicine and considered the founder of epidemiology, as well as the person who proved that cholera spreads through water, particularly because of the Broad Street pump incident. His findings and reports were heavily scrutinized all his life, and he was dismissed as a nut and conspiracy theorist. Insert you know nothing, Jon Snow. Joke here, but those very same reports and investigations are the main reason modern cities have sewers under them. James Bach. He was known as a prodigious organist in his time and composed as sort of a side gig. His music was decently appreciated in his time, but as soon as he died he was completely forgotten, as he expected. It wasn't until Mendelssohn resurrected his works in the 1800s that anyone cared for his music, and now he is seen as possibly the greatest composer of all time. Stieg Larsson, who wrote The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series. He was a dedicated, talented writer who, in life, never found great success. His became a best-selling author many times after his death. Gregor Mendel. His published works related to heredity were almost completely ignored until they were rediscovered about 3 decades later. Valery Legasov, the brain behind the cleanup operation at Chernobyl. He got spat out by the Soviet Union after he refused to keep his mouth shut about the design flaw of the RBMK reactors and had his status and career credits removed by the Soviet state. He committed suicide exactly 2 years after the Chernobyl explosion, thinking he would remain unknown to the world, only now to be considered a hero to humanity and Earth.